Just waiting for a few more people to come on and we will get started. What up, Ty? Just waiting for a few more people and then we will get started on this very important topic. I want to hear your opinions. I want feedback. If anyone wants to join in, I can patch you in and we can hear your opinions. Excuse me, we can discuss with you online. We can have opinions. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm gonna wait till 7:05 and then I'll get started. Let people get online before I start bumping my gums. If anybody wants to be brought on video, let me know and I will bring you on so we can have an open dialogue. Instead, I know a lot of the typing can get a little exhausting. You may not be able to get your point across in that way. So if anyone wants to come on, let me know. 7:03. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna start now. So I honestly went back and forth about whether I should speak on this topic or not, because, you know, a lot of people are very, this is a very touchy subject, right? And people like to misconstrue words, which is why I put a disclaimer there that this is not a conversation in support of R. Kelly. I just want to be clear, because no matter what I say, somehow, some way, someone's still going to make it about that when it is not about support of him. He is guilty. He did everything they accused him of and they found him guilty of. This is not that. This is simply to have a conversation about his mental well-being, right? Because what people don't realize is, you know, R. Kelly was, he was a victim of child molestation. You know, he was molested by a family member, which was a female, and he was also molested by a trusted neighbor who happened to be male. He was molested from the age of 7 to 14 years old, and people aren't talking about that. So I feel that it's necessary to, in a sense, get into his mind, because what he did is completely abnormal. Normal people don't do that, right? So if normal people don't do that, then you have to wonder what triggered them to do those types of lewd and inhumane acts that he did, right? So R. Kelly, when he was molested from 7 to 14 years old, he at some point he mustered up the courage to let his mom know about what was occurring to him. And what happened was, you know, when she confronted him, the neighbor, this is who I'm talking about, the neighbor, when she confronted him, essentially he paid her and it went away. So what R. Kelly portrays at this moment, or what he was portraying, was a learned habit. He told his mom, which she should have protected him and made sure that that neighbor was prosecuted. But what she did was she took hush money, right? She took hush money and she disregarded the fact that her son had been sexually molested. So let's take into account that they grew up in poverty. He grew up in the projects in Chicago. No dad, just a single mom. She was in church all the time, you know, and these things was happening when mom was at church and wherever else she was at and what she was doing. This man got violated, not only by a female, but by a male. So let's take into account that fact right there. You're 7 years old and your family member, a female family member, is sexually molesting you. people who are supposed to care about you, protect you, all that. So he's being violated in that way. And then a trusted neighbor who, you know, the whole neighborhood trusted him. He used to go to the produce store. He used to bring back fruit, all types of stuff. And that was grooming, right? They groomed him and they violated him. And think of it in a heterosexual tense. If you are a straight male, well, at 7 years old, you really don't know what you like because you're a kid and you really shouldn't be worried about sex anyway, right? But the fact that he was touched by a male, someone who was nice, right, in the neighborhood, well respected, he was violated by a male. So can you imagine what that would do to somebody's mind? A child's mind, because he knows that it's not right, right? And then imagine that happening to you, and then you going to your mother and you telling your mom what happened, and your mom does nothing about it. She takes money and disregards the fact that you were molested. So I wanna understand what people think about that. Like, what he was doing was not right. And I've said that several times. It was not right. But what triggered him to do that type of stuff? Does normal people just go around defecating and peeing and molesting young girls? No, they don't do that. Right? So I'm trying to understand why people aren't taking that into account. You know, the Jeffrey Epsteins, the Andrew Tates, Harvey Weinstein, Jerry Sandusky, all these people that got called into question about molesting boys and young kids, their mental health came to light, right? It was always, oh, this person did this and this person didn't have that. But when it comes to our people, we're ready to drag them. And I don't understand why that is. We have to all, take into account the things that happened to him. The things that happened to him should not be taken lightly. So the fact that, he was, a shy, timid kid, he was in school, he would get teased because he didn't, he couldn't read, so he turned to his music. And in his music, he began to sing about the things that was happening to, like, a lot of sexual explicit type lyrics. And he dropped out of school in the 11th grade. So he would remain, he would go to the high school every day. Again, mentally, you got to think about where this man was mentally, right? He was stuck in the element where he got violated. When he got violated, sometimes people aren't able to move beyond their victimization, especially if there's no help. His mom didn't help him. There was no therapy. There was no psychiatric help. There was nothing. Even when he told his brothers, they told him to let it go. How do you just let something like that go when you're violated? How do you let that go? So I want to know what you guys think. People are watching, but I want to know what your opinions are on, do you believe that R. Kelly should be granted a little bit of leniency? Do you think that, he needs psychiatric help instead of just being, in prison? Or do you think he got exactly what he deserves? You also have to take into account that he had a bunch of enablers around him. Everyone knew what he was doing, and everyone turned a blind eye to it. A lot of people were enabling it. It was a enterprise. You had the guys flying the girls out. They were getting hotel rooms for them, fake IDs, all types of stuff. People knew what he was doing was wrong, and he didn't have anybody to have his back and be like, yo, man, you bugging. Like, what are you doing? But everybody around him had their own agenda. So I really want to know what you guys think about that. Like, how can someone be victimized in that manner with no type of help and have $1 million and everybody in the world wants you and you're famous and you're this and you're that, but no one is being honest about your sickness? And R. Kelly was and still is sick. Yeah, he's in jail, but mentally he's still sick. During the trial, when they were talking about, when they were playing the video of one of the sexual acts with a young girl, his music was playing in the background. And he starts closing his eyes and he's playing the piano to it. Like, that's mentally, like, you're on trial for sex trafficking of underage girls. And he closes his eyes and he starts just, playing to the melody of the song playing in the background of the sex tape. That is not normal. You understand what I'm saying? That's not normal. So again, what do you guys think? You guys are watching. You're not saying anything. What do you guys think? Do you think that he's right where he needs to be, or do you think that he still needs psychological help? I think he needs psychological help. He definitely needs to be locked up because he will offend again because he doesn't think anything he was doing was wrong. And he didn't have anyone around him to tell him that it was wrong. Everybody enabled it. You know why? Because R. Kelly was keeping the lights on. They got a lot of benefits from that man. He couldn't read. They had him signing documents. He was signing his money away, his royalties, everything. And he didn't realize it because he was illiterate. Everybody had their own agenda, which also plays into why he's in jail right now. Let's be mindful that in 2008, he was brought to charges on the same thing. Underage, having sex with underage girls. Brought the trial. At that time, he was paid. He had money. And he got off, right? He got off with that. But now, in the present tense, okay, Marlon, 1 second. In the present tense now, it's like, because he's broke, he don't have any money. So now, it's more so like, now you're a regular person like us. If one of us was to do that, we're going to jail, and that's just that. But when you have money, there's certain things you can get away with, right? So, where'd you go, Marlon? Send it to me again. Oh, there we go. We're bringing Marlon in. I want to hear your opinion. There we go. What's going on, Marlon? How you doing?
I just got the gym. Like, Jesus Christ, go off working in the gym. But
you did?
You hear me? Can you hear me?
A little bit.
All right, you hear me better now?
Yeah. So what's your take on, I don't know if you heard some of the things I was saying. I'm sorry?
Everything you were saying even yesterday, I've been saying even before he went to court. He's been doing this, and all these people are making more money off of him as he even got older.
Yep.
So don't get me twisted like you stated, and people look at me kind of weird, but no, these people are probably be doing that shit too. Don't get it wrong. I care they care about anything I say because it's honest.
Yeah.
My mother kept me sheltered away from people like that as a kid, and I was mad. I couldn't see my cousins. I couldn't like stay at night over friends. You know, everybody go spend the night at this. I couldn't do that at any of them ages.
Yep.
And I was mad as a kid, like, damn, man, what the fuck? But I started realizing when I got older, I'm like, oh, this stuff really happened to y'all.
Yep. It really does.
It's a psychological problem.
And when it happens at the hands of a family member or a trusted family friend. So, you know, when you're a kid, you don't understand why your parents are restricting you from doing certain things. Exactly. But when in retrospect, when you become an adult, you understand why. Because people really are creeps out here.
And he didn't realize it because, like you said, it's 7 to 14 years old. To him now, that's natural. And I got money, so I can just for my family, and they good. And they give me, they actually, I'm not going to lie, I don't know if it's true, but sometimes they would give him girls that they knew was young.
Yeah,
so they were already setting them up.
Of course they
So like, hold on.
Of course they knew. They absolutely knew. They absolutely knew because there were times when they would ask them, like, how old are you? And then I know one time R. Kelly got upset about that. But you can clearly see, like, they weren't developed. They had baby faces. Like, these girls were young. But again, he was attracted to young girls because I believe that psychologically he stopped where his offending began. So when you are a child, and sometimes when you have childhood trauma, sometimes it's hard for certain people to get beyond that trauma, right? And clearly R. Kelly was not beyond that trauma. That's why he was still hanging up at the high school. Mentally, he was still a child. That's why he still went up to the high school and he liked younger girls.
I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
That high school part messed me up. Other than that, before that high school point up to high school, that was kind of weird. But all right, y'all still bringing these kids to me. But why is my chauffeur even bring me to this high school? He ain't out of my.
You know why? You know why? Because he had money.
Yeah, now I'm just dropping.
They all had their own agendas.
Exactly.
They all had their own agenda, and it's sad because the same people that he's taking care of, they should have been taking care of him and making sure that he was in his, you know, in a right mind state, in a right mind space.
Yep.
Clearly he wasn't. Like you said, at this age, why are you still going to the high school? You're not even in high school.
And he didn't drive there by himself. So I was like, okay.
Right. Everybody around him enabled it. He, you know, preyed on girls who were in, you know, runaways, you know, in a turn your volume up a little bit, because I'm having trouble hearing
I might
you.
put my headphones on, but all right. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
But what I'm basically saying, like, I agree with everything you say. A lot of people, I don't think he should went to jail, especially for that many years. They've been trying to get him. However, I think he belongs in a psychiatric house like everybody else.
Yeah, I do believe he needs to be punished for it, absolutely, because he ruined a lot of girls' lives. He ruined a lot of people's lives, right? But I just don't think that, I think, like you said, they've been trying this for 30 years, but in 2008, he was brought, their charges was brought on him, but he was able to beat it because he had money during that time. That was like at the height of his career. But now, you know what I mean? Like, once all these allegations started and, you know, it was all this craziness, royalty started, he was signing stuff and didn't realize it. So he's signing away things. Now people are starting to they're gearing up to make sure that there's cool, like they're financially cool when the shit hits the fan. And that's
off his money.
Right.
Off his money.
And you see, like, even with that, he was paying a lot of people off because he had a lot of offenses. And once that stuff was supposed to come to light, he would pay them off, which was a learned behavior, because that's what happened to him. When he told his mom that he was being molested, the neighbor gave them money. Right. So that's a learned behavior.
100%. I'm agreeing with you, because he learned behavior because, okay, well, mommy doesn't care. So I guess if I do this, that's like you said, it's a learned behavior. It's like a pit bull could, like, I'm gonna bring up dogs. I love dogs more than anything. You can have a beautiful pit bull that's not going to be a savage to you. But if you raise a pit bull to watch other pit bulls bite pit bulls as a puppy, that puppy is going to be a savage dog to bite anybody that comes in the house. It's just common sense about nature.
It is.
I mean, it's nature.
And you know what? So honestly, too, I think that the way he was, like, defecating on them, spitting on them, you know, peeing on them, for me, I feel like he hates women. And I think that because his mom didn't protect him, he feels, and then the cousin, the young lady who was molesting him, it was a female. So the way he acts toward females is almost like he hates women. You know what I'm saying?
And that is a part of the cycle, as the part they call it the psyche. I went to school because thank God none of that happened to me because of my mother. She didn't make sure I was around people, but I realized that child development, I forgot what it's called, school, but college anyway. The child psychology part, they say like your brain adapts to certain things, if that makes sense.
It does.
So yes, you would be mad at if people that get bullied, what do? They become, I'm not going to just say cops, but some cops are just bullies to people that might have bullied them. They may not like the black guy from the football team, maybe the black guy that became the quarterback. They catch you on that road in the middle of Tennessee and they remember you. Guess what? I'm locking you up for some reason. That's just psychological error. Huh?
Yeah, it is. Everything is psychological.
I'm going to stop your story, but I'm agreeing with you.
No. I'm saying everything is psychological. Everything that occurs and happens to us is psychological, especially when it happens at a young age, right? 7 years old. For 7 years, he was molested, and it was okay, right? So then you don't stop growing psychologically, but you move on in life. You're growing in age, but you're not growing mentally. Psychologically, you're growing in age, and that's it. But all the things he was doing was showing that he was not right. He was sick, and because he never got the proper help.
Now,
when you have childhood trauma, you need. I'm sorry.
I said, I do have a question for you then. Sure. Do you think there had been one person that tried to, and they probably like kept that person away from him, like maybe like a grandfather or anything, like a godfather, anybody, like a grandmother, like anybody that could have said, "Hold up, come over here," and they probably kept stopping that person from being from him?
I mean, it's possible, but that wasn't highlighted in any of the documentaries, stories. No, I'm saying it's possible.
Psychologically, but
it's possible. I know, like, his old music teacher, she had pulled him aside. This was before he actually dropped out of school. She pulled him aside to talk to him because when he would be singing a lot of sexually explicit things, and she felt that it was inappropriate. But in his mind, everything was hypersexualized for him because of his upbringing.
What he's going through when he leaves that school after singing. Yeah, I get it.
And that's what he turned to. He turned to his music. He couldn't read, he couldn't write, but he hear a tune in his head and he'd be able to sing it. You know what I mean? So like that worked for him. But what people don't realize is just because he's a celebrity, it doesn't negate the fact that he's a human being. Right?
Everybody's still human.
He's still human. And see, what people misunderstand is that he was very talented. He was a talented man.
Yeah.
But his talent was only for him to be able to survive while on earth. That does not mitigate the fact that he was touching on kids, sexually penetrating boys, girls, and whatever else. Like it's like he has money, but he had money and it made it go away, right? But now that he is in the spotlight and now he doesn't have the money and now he's on trial, now everybody wants to just drag him. And I just don't think that's,
Everybody's gone. That's weird.
Everybody's gone.
Everybody's gone. I don't
Besides the two young girls, I know there was 3. I forget their names, but one of them went home. She's like married now, and the one that he like actually wanted to look like a boy. I think her name was like Bria. I don't remember her name. There's so many of them.
I don't remember her name. It was too many, but yeah.
It was too many of them. But there's still 2 young girls that they're trying to get back now that are still like by his side. But in terms of his entourage, his managers, they all was spilling the tea. All of them was talking about it. And I also have a problem with that too, because if they knew what was going on, if they knew, they was flying these young girls in. So why are they not
locked up? Sorry,
exactly.
But I'm just saying that's the part that bothers me the most. Why are they not locked up as accomplices? He didn't order them. Y'all brought it to me.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like they would be at concerts. You know, R. Kelly had this thing with having his number already ready. He would let a certain bodyguard or entourage dude, whatever they call them, let them know, go give her my number, give them the number. And they were culprits in that whole thing. So the fact that he took this whole L by himself, they washed him out in terms of money. He has no money now. Like the girl had to post his bail. This man, do you remember how he was at the height of his career during the 90s, the 2000s?
Mad money, yo. He got to be like Jordan money. He did Space Jams. He got a soundtrack with Space Jams.
He had money, right? But between all the payoffs to keep things quiet and keep him out of court, you know what I'm saying? And then between everybody around him robbing him, he don't have nothing. So now he's a regular person and he got to face these charges.
And then, well, not the charges, he's faced it now, but also think about this: when the feds, he got arrested by the feds, and all these different places, like all these places, they seized all your money. He might have had some other money set aside somewhere, but you can't even touch that either. Don't think about that.
I mean, I don't know, because they wouldn't by law be able to touch that, because it's not like he was getting money from them. He was just trafficking them. So they wouldn't be able to seize his I mean, I don't know. I didn't do research on that, but just
I do. Well, I will tell you how to do it, but yeah, he still got money, but he just can't touch it.
If it was drug money, and things like that, they're going to seize all of that. But all he was doing, he was sex trafficking.
No, I'm talking about sex trafficking. I'm talking about as far as like his actual, like they seized like anything he can make, like off of, I don't care if you talk about Space Jams or anything that they play. Some people still play. I still play music. He don't get that money. So the company gets that money.
It goes to the victims. It goes to the victims.
Yeah, and that's BS, because I'm not even gonna lie to you. The beginning of the case made me mad. Don't get me twisted. I'm gonna say this real fast. The girls that lived in his houses, the Trump hotels and all that stuff like that. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Their parents were the ones that said this crap. Them girls ain't no problem, but guess what? They even had it on the court. If I'm not mistaken, the parents sent them to the R. Kelly concert. I'm not sending my 16-year-old girl, R. Kelly concert. Does that make sense?
But it does. But he preyed on a lot of the girls who were like, single moms, runaways, girls who was in poverty. So he had a certain, how can I say it? He had a certain. I'm sorry, what you say?
Genre. Not once. I know what you mean, but it's not genre, but like a certain.
It was a certain type of woman, a certain type of a certain type of girl, right? Like the fact that she's, maybe from a broken home, no dad, single mom, working a lot. He had a type, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying. And even watching the documentaries and things of that nature, there was some parts of me that was like, when the girls would be exposed to this very strange behavior, they would go back. And that's what I didn't get. Like, if he
Well,
did all this craziness to you, why would, but again, they're young minded. He's a celebrity and they're just wooed by, his stardom. But I
celebrity
still don't
syndrome, I get
understand
all
why
that.
they would go back.
Well, you can get that. Well, that part I would get because I had to watch this when I was in middle school. I would watch high school people come with cars and pick up middle school girls with Lexuses. Like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
took the girl like the best cheerleader. Damn, I shot this nigga car in middle school. You know what I'm saying? So, hey,
Yeah.
I was just brand new. He just a rich
Yeah.
nigga. Them niggas
Right.
will never get caught. Excuse my language. You hear me? That's
See, but
just to be honest. That happens all around the country.
yeah, but
Will be in middle
but the
school
difference
and
is,
everything. You want to get this girl. Listen to me real quick. You know, Mom, I'm sorry to cut you off. This is your show. But I remember in middle school, I think I was in seventh grade. I'm not going to say how much money I had. I had enough money. Like, I looked like a preppy boy, whatever. It didn't matter. But I would sometimes, most kids had like, I don't know, honey buns or something like that. I would come to the school to the best looking girl I liked, and I would give her like I don't know, certain better looking candies that you can't get from here, something like that. Let's just say Starbucks, just get out the way.
mm-hmm.
But then I'm thinking, all right, guys, give me a little kiss on my little cheek. I'm a little kid. I'm in seventh grade, sixth grade. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, this let out time, there's some nigga outside with Alexis. That's not her father or uncle. That's her new boyfriend. He go to high school.
Right.
It's not funny, but it been happening.
Well, yeah, this goes back to the 1600s. Like, girls used to their fathers used to marry them off at 13 years old. This is nothing new. It's just new now because people are now talking about it and actually wanting to put a stop to it. So that's the difference. And to your point, young girls do typically like older guys, right? But the difference is those guys weren't doing the things that he was doing to them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I don't know because I wasn't with them people doing that, but yeah.
You said what?
I said, well, I don't know because I was just to be upset. Like, man, I'm gonna kill this now. I should be mad. I'm just too young.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to you. I'm just making a joke on that behalf. But no, you're right though. Back to your psychological side though, they always did. Females did. I mean, out there, some men that gave us some odd reason for stuff like that. Some odd reason, but I don't
said
think
men did what?
they did the same thing. Like, you just watch, like, you leave middle school. How you leave middle school and all these Lexuses pulling up and they not your parents or uncle or aunt or nobody picking your grandma? My grandma used to pick me up.
This is nothing new. This is nothing new. It's absolutely nothing new. But I think people were outraged because of the things that he did, the tapes, this making them eat his feces and, peeing on them. And, another thing is too, R. Kelly had herpes. He had herpes. And he was willingly giving this disease to these young girls. And a few of the girls on the documentary even said that they now have herpes as a result of having unprotected sex with R. Kelly. So he definitely needs to be in jail for that, because that's against the law. You can't have a disease and willingly and knowingly give it to people. Like, you just can't do that.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That too, but I definitely get that law. That law is a lot of places. But I also got, like you stated, it's a mental situation he's been doing. And why would you make, like, okay, I'm a person that people like to sue people and set people up sometimes, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I hate it when they did it. Now, unfortunately, they're not living for what they did and live in different states. And they would do that. Mm-hmm. Karma does work, put it like that. Karma does work. But I watch people do the same thing. Let's send my kid to this person party and push them on her or whatever, and dress her up so pretty so she look like she just that and the other. You know what I'm saying? But then you've been to places everywhere, right or wrong. You just came from vacation, I believe. But when you go to these beach parties or anything like that, you have it's not like the person on the stage is saying, get her right up this stage.
Oh, R. Kelly was definitely doing that. He was definitely doing that.
Not the ones that lived in his home, what's the name? Not the ones that came backstage. The ones that really started. The parents kept making the whole big deal about. The ones that sent the parents. Them two girls lived at Trump Plaza. Remember them? I don't know if you
Yeah, I
remember
know who
them.
you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Their parents set those kids up to go to. They said, I think they got money with the guys that did it. Whoever's on his team. You hear me? I honestly believe that
Yeah.
to this day. I honestly believe that to this day. They knew they could make more money because they knew they can sue, and guess what? We'll pay you half this money. If they start doing the same thing they do with anybody else's money, as far as the cost of the money trail, you'll figure out it was set up somehow. Why would I let my daughter, 13 or 14 years old, go to an art collegiate? I'm telling you that to this day. Why would she go there? My wife doesn't go there. Makes no sense.
Right.
Makes no
Right. It
sense.
doesn't. It
Like
doesn't.
honestly, makes no sense to me. So
No,
like I'm just being honest
it
on
doesn't.
that. Yeah, I'm not
It'll never
defending
make
R.
sense.
Kelly.
But you know what? You know what? You know what? People with sick minds will never, their thought process will never make sense to us, because as parents who are protective over their children, parents who actually love their children and don't feel like their children are checks, will not do that. But here's the thing: we only know based off what was said on the document. I wasn't there. I don't know.
I just
But
watched the
I do
parents.
feel
They did let
your
them go there.
sentiments, because
That was
I
the weird
felt the
part.
same with the last two girls. I felt like maybe they did have a nickel in that dime, because the one girl had a mother and a father, but
Yeah,
yet
and they both said,
she
yeah, he
still
did
ended
this, so
up.
y'all sit them there.
You said what?
I remember that's the only part I really. That's when I stopped watching that whole. That was a long disposition, but I remember it. I'm like, okay, well, these two girls been living with him all this time. Y'all want y'all kids back now?
Yeah.
Because they ain't talking to you? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You sent the kids there. The rest of them, yeah. All right, all right. The girl you pissed on and all that, sprinkling and all that, yeah, it's kind of weird. But
It's
the
very
two
weird.
that lived with them pissed me off. Remember Sprinkle's niece? I wasn't mad at her because she just probably did what she had to do to try to get her, that's, I guess, industry stuff. I don't know. But the two girls that lived with him everywhere and said even he wouldn't be there half the time because he's on tour, but they had the whole mansion to themselves. Remember that?
Yeah.
Those were that's why the thing actually blew up because of them and their parents. Like, we can't talk to our daughters. They got our daughters sitting here like slaves. They say it's like 6 other places in here. Like, man, this ain't no kennel. Ain't even in there. You could escape. They said they can go outside. That's the part that got me when I stopped watching, because when them girls said they can go to the mall, he got them whole credit cards and everything. You know, his credit card it don't max out. You know what I'm saying? How is your kid in trouble? They just don't want to talk to you, unfortunately. A lot of kids don't want to talk to their parents.
Well, a lot of that was made on a promise, right? Again, R. Kelly was at the rise of his career, and he was promising them a lot of things. And as the parents, a lot of those girls were aspiring singers, right? Again, logically, as a parent, you're not going to send your kid with a 27-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? But the same thing with Aaliyah. Like, Aaliyah was 14 when he married her. And the uncle Aaliyah's uncle was his manager. And there's talks about whether her mom knew about it or not. But again, nobody knows that part. But the point is, the uncle knew what R. Kelly was into, but yet he still allowed his young niece to be put in that type of position and to be violated by somebody who
would not be around her the whole time. I swear on anything, love. All my little cousins, I have female cousins. I'm the only child, but I have female cousins. All their fathers, there's no way in hell, ain't no way, even if you were one of their daughters, there's no way in hell you would be by yourself with this guy.
Right.
But go ahead, I'm sorry. I just started talking. We're talking.
No, it's all right. I definitely appreciate your comment and your perspective on it. I'm gonna let Naj
Go ahead.
come on next. But I want you to continue to watch. If there's anything and you want to put it in the chat and I'll address it.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you for coming on. All right, Naj, where you at? There we go. Naj. Oh, okay. Keon, you want to join? Let's go. Waiting on Keon Lundy to come on. Lundy, can you hear me? There you go. What up, Lundy?
Yo, shaking.
What's going on?
I'm chilling.
All right, so obviously you know what the conversation's been. What's your take on it?
Um, I was just, I was just listening to what y'all was saying. This is way after the fact, though. It's, as far as
Speak up a little bit. Speak up a little bit. Take your sexy voice off.
nah, I said I was just thinking about the whole situation. If people could get help way before they seen the problem or whatever, and it benefited themselves, it would be a better world, better space or whatever. I just feel like that whole thing was orchestrated and planned for that to be like that, for them to be one of the puppets. Just like as well as what they did with Michael Jackson, or what else they did with Bill Cosby or anybody, you know what I'm saying? Especially with our black men.
Well,
It's leaders
Key. Well, Key.
and I ain't
He did
saying that.
that.
I'm talking about he got his,
He did it. He did it.
he did what he did. I ain't
He
saying that.
did
I
it.
ain't on that issue. I'm just talking
Okay.
about problems that should have been fixed before that issue even occurred. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? I used to be a fan or whatever the fuck else, but now since that make you not even want to listen to music that you thought was good music at one point in time, or anything, you know what I'm saying? It takes away from what you thought was at one point in time. But that's
You
my
can't allow his actions to pervert your memories. Okay. I still listen, his what he did has nothing to do with his talent, right? Now, I will say certain songs, once you go through the trial and you understand what certain lyrics meant and it was kind of perverse, like now you're like, you know, but lyrically, you can't deny that he was a great, great, great songwriter, singer, entertainer, all that stuff,
oh no, that's
right?
a fact. He's a genius
He
when it
is. He's
comes to
a
that.
lyrical genius. That's why they call him the Pied Piper. People just come, like he's playing the pipe and people are just coming. Like, we can't deny his talent. But the fact that the fact of what he was doing is the issue. And the fact that he had a bunch of enablers around him who, I might add, is not, no one's facing charges for that. They were bringing these young girls to him, signing documents, forging documents, getting fake IDs, pulling up to the school. Like, they were all enablers because they all had their own agenda.
No, that's a fact. Plus, statute of limitations is everything, you know what I'm saying? In some states, whatever else, but you know what I'm saying? It was brought back for him to be punished for whatever he thought he could get away with, you know what I'm saying? And all the extra stuff nobody would have never seen, because we didn't have no social media and all that at that time. So a camera, something that you saw on camera, some shit like that, would be like something that was recorded off of a VCR tape, cassette or
Yeah.
some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh, that was a big thing. These days, people make movies or whatever on their phone and shit. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that shit don't get leaked out or whatever. But
Right.
whole different era or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So,
But you
and it's
know
not.
what? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Nah, it's like that's not even the only person. That's like somebody the only one that got caught. Imagine how many other people is
What?
like that. And were just
What? The Harvey Weinsteins, Jerry Sandusky, the Beatles,
Hugh
Andrew Tate,
Hefner.
Jeffrey Epstein. There's a whole host of
That's a
them.
fact.
Like,
So
there's a whole host of them. But the difference is all of those people's mental health came into play.
yeah,
No one discusses what R. Kelly endured as a child. And that is my only disposition, is to speak about the victimization that he suffered, because once he suffered and now he became he became the victimizer, right?
yes,
So that's what I'm saying. Like, is he guilty? Absolutely. He deserves to go ahead and be jailed, right? But I also think that he needs psychological assistance as well. It's not enough to just jail him
no,
because he's mentally sick.
yeah, I feel like you need some mental help too.
It is. It is undoubtedly with dealing with his psyche, because normal people don't do stuff like that.
That's a
You know
fact.
what I mean? Like, that doesn't typically happen with normal people.
Or
You
you
know
see
what I'm saying? So
people, a lot of people. Who's to say somebody is normal when it comes to that mental state? You got people like Jeffrey Dahmer, and that was 10 times, 1,000 times worse than what you would say R. Kelly would be. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother race or something else that'd be a whole debate if people want to get on who's worse or what's what and all that.
right.
So I don't
Well,
want to get into people characteristics when it comes to, because he wasn't even a talented motherfucker. He just was out here doing shit that just, you know what I'm saying? We had the Pied Piper, you had this nigga Jeffrey Dahmer, you got that name, that was his name. You're like, oh shit, that's his,
okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Well, with Jeffrey Dahmer, that the dynamics were different, right? His mom, she was already clinically diagnosed. She was taking a lot of different medications while she was pregnant with him. She was abusing alcohol. There was a lot of things. So now, mind you, if you're doing all that while you're pregnant, your child's neural wiring is not going to be well, right?
Yeah,
so Jeffrey Dahmer's situation was a little different. Like, he inherited that. His mom was wacky, bipolar, all that. And then he's seen, his mom and dad constantly fighting, and but with these type of people, Jeffrey Dahmers and stuff, they hurt animals. So there's early onsets that people need to pay attention to instead of excusing or denying.
right.
Like, he went to a boy in school and was like, "You want to dissect the frog? I got a frog."
Right.
And the boy was like, "You saw that, right?"
Yeah.
The boy was like, "Yo,
There's
you're weird."
there's certain things that you would catch on to be like, oh nah, this motherfucker's something wrong with you. He need help or something is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But R. Kelly had nobody to do that. Nobody to do that. That is my issue. He had a whole entourage, people that's supposed to love him and have his back, and they didn't, simply because they had their own agenda. He was keeping the lights on. You understand? So people was just turning a blind eye to it. But now that he's locked up and he don't have no more money, now everybody wants to come out and speak about it. The former managers, the former security, like, but y'all knew what was going on. And as a friend, you should be like, "Yo, you wildin'. Like, you're gonna end up getting caught up for this." Like, as a friend, because I think that he really wanted that, because he didn't have that. It didn't come from his mom. His mom didn't protect him, right? He never had nobody to tell him that he was wrong and that he needed help. Right. And I think that if he had that one authentic person to bring that light to him, I think that possibly could have resonated. Because if you start listening to some of the lyrics, like the trapped in the closet and all that, he was trapped in a mental closet.
I mean, yeah, but he was also a writer, you know what I'm saying? He wrote for Michael Jackson. He brought a lot of people back in their careers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The Isley Brothers and shit like that. He did a lot of work when it come to that. But you gotta understand, like, some people got money, they don't even be educated on shit until they get into a situation. You never know. He only knew how to do music or read music notes. He probably didn't know how to read.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? People got their own little flaws or whatever. People think because people got money that they just like these people that's just invisible or not. They're human beings just like we are. At one point in time, they went through something to get to a point of, you know what I'm saying? That's how they express their pain as far as artists goes anyway.
Right.
But,
and that's what I was saying with the last caller. The same thing. Like, yeah, like, his talent has nothing to do with his psychological well-being.
What made his situation a lot worse is because Aaliyah, we loved Aaliyah too, and that was a part of something so it was like, it was looked at more mainstream. But there's so many girls out here and that's like being taken advantage of, or that need help, or it's got like human trafficking and all types of shit going on in this world. You wouldn't believe it. Like I'm saying, girls don't be having nowhere to go, to be homeless and shit. They find older motherfuckers and think that they're gonna take care of them or do whatever the fuck else. You don't find them, they end up missing, and they find them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say that, whatever. But I'm saying, but you know how this world works. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucked up world out here, and that's why I got daughters to protect. That's why I'm overthink shit, and I'm overprotective of everything, because I know how the fuck this world could be. But on that note,
it's messed up out here. It's messed up. But the difference is you're protecting yours. R. Kelly didn't have anybody to protect him when he told his mom about being molested
by a sister.
It was by a cousin.
Oh, a cousin.
I don't think he had a sister, did he?
I think it was an older sister, older cousin, or some shit.
I believe it was his cousin, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was his cousin, but he was also molested by a trusted neighbor who happened to be male.
Brian,
right?
No damn.
He was molested from the age of 17 to 14 years old. That's when the child's mind is developing in its most authentic state. Like, they're growing and they're learning. So he gets, musters up the strength to tell his mom, the courage to tell his mom. And what'd she do? She went to approach the guy, and the guy gave her money, and it went away. So what he was doing was a learned behavior, right? Because that's what he saw. He's like, oh, I can do these things, and then I can pay people off, and it goes away.
Right.
And that's what he lived. But again, this is not to mitigate what he did. I just want people to understand, like, yo, he needed help. And as our people, like, Charlie Sheen, he has HIV, and he was out here giving it to people knowingly, but you don't hear their culture dragging him through the mud. Right. The same thing with the Harvey Weinsteins and the Jerry Sandusky's, and they don't drag their people. Nope. It goes away.
Right.
But we drag and we judge, and I feel like people aren't judging him fairly based on the facts. That's what I'm saying. That man was sick. He, you know, his mental health was never called into question. I don't recall any of that being in any of the transcripts, any of the proceedings. I feel like they just railroaded him based off of his actions, but not thinking about the, you know, what brought him to that place.
Yeah.
So for me, as you know, someone who's big on advocacy of mental health, I felt the need to point that out, because we're so, oh, mute R. Kelly, mute R. Kelly, mute R. Okay, you can mute him all you want, but at the end of the day, why don't we help this brother?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't we show a little empathy for what he endured and never got the proper treatment for?
Right.
Why be so quick to just throw him away? Like, he's in jail, he's paying for it. But can you now be a little bit more sympathetic and be like, damn, like, he was molested.
I think that's more or less like what they get paid to do, as far as when they sue is concerned. Even with Michael Jackson, you be like, that's the greatest who ever did it. You be like, Michael Jackson ain't never sleep with no little boys. He ain't never, you don't know. And I don't think he personally was like that. I just think he never had a childhood, and he was trying to get, you know what I'm saying, to each his own. But like I said, they're gonna do that to anybody that was looked at as something at one point in time. Hold on, I'm on the phone. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's always going to be people with different opinions about it, you know, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? But that's why I made a disclaimer, so people don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying that he was right. He was 100% wrong, 100% wrong. But you can't judge a person who is mentally ill in that manner, because again, if people think about it, childhood trauma, right? That's how you develop. Your childhood trauma, all of us, we're all what's the word I'm looking for? We're all recipients.
Traumatized?
No, I'm not traumatized. I'm not traumatized.
I got traumatized. I'm traumatized from serious
We're
things.
all recipients of our upbringing, right? Whether it's positive or negative. Your home base is what creates you and helps you to develop into who you become today, right? And as a child, if you're 7 to 14 years old and you're not receiving help, if your mom's not protecting you, and you're still going through life, and now you're a celebrity, now you got everybody around you just going to do whatever you say. Yeah. When did he have time to process being molested by not just a woman, by his cousin, but by a man? That's a whole different demon in his mind. Yeah. The fact that he was molested by a man. Yeah. And then to add insult to injury, when I told my mom, the person who's supposed to protect me, she disregarded it and took money. Stops there. It stops there for him. Now he's a celebrity. Now he got the money to perpetuate the same acts that was committed on him. And that's all he was doing. It was a learned behavior. Yes.
The fact that never got fixed.
It never got fixed. And it's still not, he's in jail, but it's still not being fixed. The problem's not fixed because he doesn't see anything wrong with what he did. I don't know if you heard me with the last caller or not, but when he was in trial and they was showing one of the sex tapes and his music was playing in the background, he closes his eyes and he starts playing to the melody. Like, bro, you're on trial for sex trafficking. Like, this is a felony.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And just his actions throughout the trial, it shows you that he's not all here.
Right.
It's not an excuse, but he needs help. The same way Jeffrey Dahmer needs help. The same way Harvey Weinstein needed help.
Well, society feeling like they're helping the situation by taking these people's lives away from them or whatever. And little do they know, whoever they touched or whatever else they ain't talking about, their situation could typically be another predator or another pedophile or another.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People that never talked about it or felt like that was even right to begin with, that, or you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's where it starts at. You know what I'm saying? Because people that already done damaged somebody else, if they did the damage already, you know what I'm saying, it's done.
Damage is done.
Right.
Damage is done.
So. But
here's the thing, like, so collectively in the mental health world, this just goes to prove my point about how relevant our mental health is. This is one of the main reasons why I used R. Kelly, because I felt that this was a prime example, and it would essentially prove my point in what I'm saying of we have to maintain our brains, because when we allow certain things to remain in our lives, we tend to live through that. right? But people have to be okay with saying that they're not okay and that they need help. And they have to have the confidence to know that we as their people aren't going to drag them when they say that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Are you really lifting weights right now?
No, I'm listening to you. I
What
just
is
had my last
happening?
set.
Like,
My
what is
bad.
happening right
I had to finish my set. Oh, I hear you.
now? Yo, Keon, if he wasn't my friend, I'd have banged on you right now. Like, you made me lose my train of thought. Like, I just couldn't believe I saw you lifting weights during this whole. I'm not doing this with you.
No.
We need to reevaluate your mental health. You want to sit here and be barbelling or curling while we talking about some serious stuff.
I'm multitask. You know what I'm saying? I figure I could get that out the way and still finish my
Yeah,
conversation.
you're Aggie. So anyway, I was rudely interrupted with your antics.
Okay.
I just want people to understand that, the things that happen to them or, that's happened to them throughout their life, that it is okay for you to reach out for help. And we as people, we have to stop dragging our people and make them feel like they're crazy, they're weak, you got to be strong. Yeah, but like, you can be strong all day, but sometimes certain things that happen to you, you must process, because if you don't, it's going to fester and it's going to come out in your life in some other area, and sometimes it could turn into a crisis level, right? So mental health is a real thing. And again, I used R. Kelly as a prime example because I wanted people to understand that it was his mental health that went unattended to, which resulted in who he is today.
Right.
And it didn't help to have a bunch of enablers, on his team, and everybody just turning a blind eye, knowing it's wrong. I feel like he really was asking, he wanted help, but nobody was willing to help him because it was about that dollar. He was rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I seen an interview with Nas. Was like, Nas said he seen a couple of females that was like way pip underage at a point in time, so he knew that somebody should have said something a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I know.
I mean,
a lot of people just was paid to just not say nothing, or to keep the transition going as far as that goes in that limelight. So you know what I'm saying? Who never knows what fed his fuel to make the music he made that made everybody else want to have babies, but didn't know what they was making babies. You know what I'm saying, too, or whatever. But
well, here's the thing, Kate. Well, here's the thing. He was brought up on charges years ago, in 2008.
Yeah, them charges old. Them shit all came
No,
back.
but here's the thing. He was doing the same. I mean, it got worse with the whole feces and peeing on girls, but he was still messing with underage girls back then. So if he was brought to, if the charges was brought up against him in 2008, right?
Right.
The reason why it didn't go anywhere was because he still had money at that time. He could pay people off. But now, when as think now we got social media. Now people are tweeting this or tweeting that, and they're tweet. So now people are starting to see like, oh shoot, the gig's almost up. So now they got him signing documents because he can't read. He's illiterate. He can't read. So he's signing away his royalties and this and that. So now, so now he doesn't have the money to pay people off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't have it. So now he has to be processed like a normal citizen.
No, he took all the money off his books in jail. He had like 20-something racks or some shit like that.
It's going all
they
to
took,
his.
They took all that away from him. They want him to feel like worse than a regular civilian. They really like stripped him for everything. I ain't gonna lie.
They do, but I mean, but rightfully so though. I mean, I do feel like some of the girls played a part in it. They played a role, because if somebody's victimizing you to a certain degree and you go back willingly, then we have to call into question your mental health. He didn't act alone, right? But as someone older, he should have known better. Right. You know what I'm saying? But now all his royalties and anything he does get, he can write books all day, but anything he gets is going to go to his victims because he has so many pending lawsuits. And not to mention, he still has to go face federal and state charges in different areas. Like, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty much a wrap.
You know?
I just be praying for brothers. But yeah, man, if anybody in the entourage, that's why my circle is small. Because if you can't talk to me when I'm at my lowest point, or when I need somebody to talk to rather than when I'm just up, then you was never supposed to be around me in the first place.
Well, you already know how that goes with celebrities. A lot of times the people around them, that's why they like to keep the people that they grew up with because they know their intent. But when you got a whole bunch of people, R. Kelly didn't have a lot of friends. He was a timid, shy young kid. But when you got money, everybody want to be around you. But you got the wrong people around you for the wrong reasons. You understand what I'm saying? So it's different. It's different when you don't have but it's different when you don't have a genuine person to be like, bro, nah, this ain't it. Let's talk. Let's sit down and talk so I can really understand what's going on, because this is not right. He didn't have those people. It wasn't in his household. He didn't have a father. He didn't get it from his mom because she took hush money, and he didn't get it from his friends. And when he told his brother, because his brother was molested too.
Damn,
and yeah, his brother was molested as well.
Well,
and
where
when
was
he
Sadie
told,
at, man? Because I don't know what was Sadie at all this
who's
time.
Sadie?
Yeah, he got a song called Miss Sadie. You know, don't you know We Love You, Miss Sadie? I think that was
That was
a nice,
not
that
him.
was a lady.
That was not him. That was like Aaron Hall or something.
That was not Anna. That was the R. I know that wasn't Aaron Hall. That wasn't that guy. That was R. Kelly. That was that guy.
No.
Yeah.
I think now you're making up stuff.
I'm not making up stuff.
Yeah, I think you're making up stuff.
You got the wrong. All right. Well, this is the wrong topic on that. I don't want to do that on your show.
Yeah. Let's stick to the course.
I know I'm
right. But even if that was his song, what does that have to do with what he was doing? Like, nobody. Listen, throughout the whole entire trial and the documentaries, it was two people. Well, excuse me. It was the music teacher who mentioned his, the fact that he was not doing what he was supposed to do in terms of, his music. And then there was another lady, I forget her name, but she also spoke about his mental health. She was the only one. Throughout that entire ordeal, no one ever thought twice to be like, well, why is this man like that? Because people just don't wake up like that unless you're like a Jeffrey Dahmer. Because again, his mom, he was doomed from the womb because of the stuff that she was doing. But R. Kelly he wasn't born like that, right? That was a learned behavior.
R. Kelly was from Chicago. He was from the hood. I know he made all these nice songs and all this other shit, but he was from where the worst of the worst people come from.
It was Ida B. Wells projects.
Yeah, but
in Chicago.
He from where everybody killing each other right now, where it's still going on where it's still fucked up at. You know what I'm saying?
But Keon, that's not an excuse though, because there's a lot of people that make it out the hood.
I'm just saying,
and don't be messing with little
girls. If he had anybody in this corner, it wouldn't be nobody like from the hood that's from the worst of the. You know what I'm saying? Where you from? 9 times out of 10, them the people that take you down too. If you stick around long enough and shit. So like you said, money don't change nothing as far as that shit. You can pay for friends and shit, but that's fake. And then after that run out, then what? You still on, you know what I'm saying, by yourself somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, God gives us discernment for a reason. Again, I really feel like he was stuck in, where he was. And that's just that, but I'm gonna thank you for your time. I want to reply to some of these comments because for some reason I can't do it while we're on the phone. Okay. But I definitely thank you for coming on and giving me your opinion.
You're welcome.
And I'm gonna tell you something. You better not ever in your life be lifting no damn weights while you on some FaceTime with me. Or excuse me, live. Okay, brother?
All right, sister.
All right. Bye. Nas, where you at? Hang up, King.
Oh.
Naj. There we go. Where are you, sir? Why can't I get you? Where? I don't have a button to add you on. Can you send me a request? Do you see it? Because everybody else has something that says, it says add them on. And I don't see, bring them on video. I don't see that for you. Neff, I ain't no fan. They didn't care. It was in high profile black man. Yeah, but again, he could be a high profile black man all day, but we were the main ones dragging that man, his own people. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, he was a high profile, but you know, it was us that was demonizing him instead of supporting him. Like, damn, yo, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. How do I do it? I don't know, because like Toy just joined and it says bring them on video. I don't know how you do it. Somebody put it in the comments and tell us how we do it, because I don't see that for you. You want an Android? You want an Android phone, that's why. Yeah, I don't see you. Let me see. You want an Android? That's why. You suck. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. My life, business. I am. You're on my life. I'm minding my business. Listen, we prepped you for this. Okay, so I need you to come on and give us your opinion. But I don't see how you. Hold on, let me see. Oh no, that's invite you to watch. You're already watching. Naj, knock it off. It's financial dependency. What's financial dependency? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Justice. Hey, Chester, opinion on what? What do you want an opinion on? Justice, I don't understand. It's financial dependency. What do you mean by that? Manny, we'll talk about Ye another time because I need to do a little bit more research before I start talking about him. They don't care it was a high profile, but can I be added with y'all? Yeah, it was a remake. Valencia, why don't you hop on? The brothers is representing. I don't have no ladies that's jumping on. He had yes, man, not friends. Exactly. And yeah, he broke. Marlon, are you crazy? He in jail. 2008 was the height of his career. Same charges was brought up against him, and guess what? He was exonerated. Absolutely broke. And he's broke because he had to pay off so many people to keep the stuff out of the tabloids and, you know, in the justice system. He had to pay a lot of people off. And all of the people around him was taking his money. Like, yeah, he broke. If I raped and held woman captive, my black ass would be under the money absolutely runs the world. And again, the fact that he doesn't have any money says a lot about why he's locked up. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Money is power. And the money he had in 2008, he would have definitely walked again. I promise you that. But he's broke now, so let me see. It's sad that our society places money and fame in a higher regard than being. You're right. That's all it's about. It's about money. That's it. You ever hear money's the root of all evil? That ain't a lie. That ain't a cliche. It's true. Don't compare Jeff to Robert. That is different. R. Kelly didn't have no new charges. All that shit is old. Shit probably. Yeah, I mean, you know, it depends. You know what I mean? Like, we can't say that, you know, because you have to be mindful, Lamar, that he taped a lot of this stuff. So it's not hearsay. It's not she say, he say. These are filmed acts, right? A lot of the evidence that was brought into court, he did himself because he had a habit of always taping everything. Cell phones, VHS. Who even has a VHS player anymore? He still had the tapes. So, you know, it's not really old shit. It's old behavior. Yeah, but it's new women with old behaviors. So he taped it and he pretty much still he nailed his own coffin. We're all products of we are all products of the things we've been through. Absolutely. Anybody else? Like my man said earlier, we was black folks kill out on culture. Every time we never stand behind. And Laura, that's my point. That's my point of raising the issue of his mental well-being, because as soon as R. Kelly, you know, got on trial, you know, now it's mute R. Kelly. It's always your own people. And, you know, and again, this is not about race, but it's just like, at what point do we begin to support each other instead of dragging each other? This is why people don't ask for help, because Black people drag each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? And they're not taking into account the stuff that happened to him. So that's my thing. Like I said, the things he did, he was absolutely wrong, 125,000,000% wrong. But instead of dragging him, why don't we try to understand him instead of always just turning our backs on people? Like, that's what's wrong with our race. That's why we can't get ahead, because all we do is drag each other. There's no support. So yeah, I agree with that. They loved him till the gravy train derailed. Nah, I need you on. Like, we got to figure this out right now, because your comments are just hilarious. Sorry, just read the disclaimer. Don't get cute with me, Chester. The people in his circle, it was mostly their testimony. I don't know how this worked. Come on, man. That's been going on in the hood. Their testimony had a lot to do with it, Justice, but like I previously said, he taped a lot of that stuff. And video don't lie. It got its date stamped. You know what I'm saying? The girls can identify. It was like Jane Doe 14, number 4. It was like 14 chicks in this latest situation. And he still has to go to various states. I think it's like 3 more states. And he's facing federal and state charges in both of them. So it wasn't really just about the testimony. There is digital evidence of this occurring and tangible evidence. The flight records, he was making these chicks sign non-disclosure agreements coming into the chocolate factory. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, it was like a cult almost. Like, he would be locking these girls in rooms and, not letting them out. And, you can't tell people this. You can't let people know you was here. Like, it started to get worse. And nobody around him was like, yo, dude, you're bugging. Like, this is not normal. He didn't have that. So it was the people in his circle. And the people in his circle was the main ones robbing him too, having him sign things, knowing that he was illiterate. So yeah, it wasn't just his own actions was his demise, but so was the actions of everyone around him. You can't tell me out of all them people, not one person thought to stand up and be a decent human being and be like, yo, you bugging. And if this is what you're going to do, like, I can't be a part of it, because half these guys got daughters, nieces, nephews, even, it was even said about, him bringing men in. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he was molested by a man. You know what I'm saying? So again, people aren't taking these things into account. That's been going on in the hood. Yeah. But I mean, it's different because they don't have money. People in the hood, if allegations get brought up and you go to court, you're going to jail. R. Kelly escaped this for 20 some years. Like 2018 was a prime example. Come on, Justice, you can come on. I don't know how to, I don't see it by your name either. It says bring them on video. So I need you to figure out. Somebody tell me how to do this, because it's my first time on live. I don't know. Certain people have bring them on video next to their name. A lot of you people don't. So how we help them now? That's a good question. A person has to, first off, we can only help with so much, because a person has to believe that they have an issue in order to be helped. If a person don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, that's a lost cause until they acknowledge that something needs to happen. There's an add button. I can't see anything on my end to enter the video chat. Me either. And Justice, I don't see it for you either. Both y'all Android users probably got a lot to do with it. There's an add button, but I can't see anything on my end. Sinus is starting to act up. So the only thing I have is inviting friends to watch. I don't like, Sean Bryant just came when it says bring them on video. I don't know why you guys don't have that, but he don't want to acknowledge it. I don't know if it's that he don't want to acknowledge it. I think that that's something that he probably never thought of. Because again, when you've been victimized, sometimes you're not able to see outside of your victimization. So I don't know if he really thinks there's a problem, because as I said 2 times prior, when he was in court and they was playing one of those sex tapes with an underage girl, he closed his eyes and started playing like he was playing the piano. that's not, he ain't there. So I don't think he's there yet. Do you think it was all mental health? No, I don't think it was. It's a big part of it. I don't think it was all that. But he had some demons that he needed to fight, and he didn't have nobody to help him fight them. He didn't have nobody to help point those out. So, yeah, mental health has a big thing to do with it, because if you're stuck in here, if you're stuck with your childhood trauma, it's going to be hard for you to get out of that trauma without adequate help. He didn't have the support system. He didn't get it from his mother. He didn't get it from his siblings. He didn't get it from his family. He didn't get it from his entourage. He didn't get it from these girls. He had no one but himself. Why you talking shit, whack ass iPhone? Listen, first of all, it is not by Metro. Okay. And yeah. Don't start on Air Joyce Twin. Twin, join in. Let's go. I need a woman now, because like all these men are giving their opinions, but where are my ladies at? Yeah, I know shots. That's all you throw. Nah, just shots. All right, good. I need somebody. Come on. Do we really know that for sure? Now, what do you mean, do we really know that for sure? What do you mean by that, Chester? So if it's not registering in his head, his therapist has to bring him from that age he's stuck in to get current time in. Yeah. But again, hold on. Again, in order for someone to seek therapy, they have to feel and or believe that there's something wrong. I don't get the idea that he thinks anything's wrong. Anytime your life is at stake and all of this evidence is being presented against you and you're playing the piano, like listening, that is a problem. I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he thinks that he did anything wrong. Even in the the interview? I can't think of the lady's name, not Diane Sawyer. But the black lady, the interview he was in with her, like he was, jumping up, it's my life, doing all these antics, but I really don't think he did anything wrong. You know why? Because nobody thought what happened to him was wrong. Learned behavior. Oh yeah, Gayle King. Yes, thank you. The Gayle King interview. You see how he was acting? And he was also still acting like a child. Like again, sometimes with childhood trauma, people are able to they get older in age, but they're not mentally and psychologically that age. They're stuck where their childhood trauma captivated them. So it's different. LaRonda, how do us less fortunate injury? Yeah, hurry up. Google it or something. Find out. Trump is 76 years old and he does it. Yeah, of course, because he has money. Again, that plays into what I said. When you have money, you get away with murder. Literally. He has money. And again, Trump doesn't think anything. Really, Manny? Trump doesn't think he did anything wrong because he has money. He comes from a family with money, and they're never accountable for their actions. So again, that also plays into what I'm saying about money. Had R. Kelly still had that bag that he had in 2008, he would be a free man right now. They would have found ways to flip the script on the girls and use it as, it's a Ponzi scheme and they're trying to get money. They're selling, but they tried it. They're selling books off of this. They're getting this, So, there's ways to flip it. You know what I mean? The law don't protect nobody but that dollar. That's all it's about. He was super defensive because his life was at stake. His whole palace, everything he known was now coming to fruition. It was being called to the carpet. So absolutely, he was defensive. But I don't think that he was defensive because he believed he did anything wrong. So yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. So R. Kelly ain't have no money. He ain't got no money now. He did. He ain't got no money now, or he was never held accountable. No, Trump. Are you talking about Trump, Chester? If so, yeah, no. I mean, up until recently, but the man damn near dead. He got one foot in the grave next to the banana peel. Like he been doing it for 76 years. Nothing's going to change now. They got him, in federal court, this, that, and the third. There's seasoned documents and season this and season that. Like I know in Mar-a-Lago, he had a whole bunch of stuff that he took from the White House that he was not supposed to take. But I guarantee you this, still gonna get off. Got away without paying taxes. How do we do that? And he admitted it during the candidacy. When they said that you don't pay taxes, he said, that makes me smart. Oh, I guess we're all dumb. So yeah, no accountability. So Nukin, this was an amazing combo. Says, thank you. I appreciate it. Money talks and bullshit goes the fuck to jail. Listen, 100% accurate. Think about that. All of the people who have money beat their cases. It's always some way to flip it around and they never go to jail. But when you're broke, you are a common citizen. And guess what? If you can't pay us, you're going to jail. It's just that simple. He was set up. It had nothing to do with money. Raz, how was he set up? I really need to understand that. How was he set up? I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for that. There is no way he was set up. There's video of him with these young girls. There's audio of him talking this nasty, freaky deaky stuff to these young girls. There are receipts, hotel receipts, flight receipts, all types of stuff. Non-disclosure agreements. Again, how was he set up? I'll wait for that. Talking about R. Kelly and Trump. I don't know what you mean by that, Chester. Yeah, Naj, he's bugging. Talking about he got set up. No, you can't get set up if you did the crime. He straight got busted. He was on tape. A tape that he started to tape himself. Like he did that. It's not like somebody had like, a hidden camera somewhere. He would set the tapes up. He did that. Key, knock it off. So you don't believe that it was mental health because of what? I'm talking to you, Chester. What do you mean you don't believe it was because of mental health? The girls' moms and aunts should have went to jail also. Therefore, he got ambushed. They told them girls to have sex with him, then flip the script. Now, listen, I'm not denying it. I do feel that some of those people have some raunchy behind family members who saw him as a check. Cash cow, boom, yep, got him. I agree with that. However, he sealed his own deal when he began taping it and leaving digital prints. That was his fault. That's not the aunts and aunties' fault. I'm trying to. I don't know how to get you on though, just. Let me see. That's not it. I don't know. There's a button. I think when it comes to R. Kelly, he knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew he was getting. But mentally, think about that, Chester. What person in their right mind is going to defecate on a chick and make her eat it and say, yeah, eat that for daddy? What? Normal people do that? What normal person pees on a girl and be like, yo, that's dope? Yeah. Like, no. They are all accomplices, Nash. He shouldn't be the only one locked up. Oh, listen. I've said this. Everybody that had a nickel in that dime should be locked up. But you know what? A lot of the people, like the former managers and security team, they were granted immunity. So before they talked about what they knew, because they knew they needed certain people that was on the inside. It wasn't enough to just take what the girl said, right? They needed people to validate or invalidate the claims that were being stated. So there were a few that were granted immunity, which is why they're still out. He is a sick individual, but the right mind to have people sign an agreement. It wasn't him. He can't even read. It wasn't him. It was his enablers. He can't read and had nobody sign nothing. It was the people around him, and they enabled it because he kept the lights on. They all had their own agendas. That's what you're not understanding. Like they're all accomplices. Mentally, he was jacked up because normal people don't do the stuff that he do or was doing. He's sick. I guarantee some of them, yes, men touch them. Listen, this goes back to the 1600s. Men loved young girls forever. This is nothing new. It's just now the world is fed up with it because a lot of people are victims of sexual molestation, all of that, even with the family, because 9 times out of 10 when a person's offended, it is a family member or a trusted family friend. It's always someone close, right? So yeah, this is nothing new. It's just now people are starting to pay attention to it, and now people are starting to put a stop to it, and in an effort to break those generational curses. No, you're right. Not all of them were underage. Nope, they weren't. Not all of them. Some of them he met at 19. Some was 18. 17, depending on what state they were in. That's legal. That's consent. Legal consent. I don't know how to fix my settings. How can I fix my settings? I don't see an option for that. Chester, I don't agree. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that because everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I feel like, again, what he portrayed was a learned behavior. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, he learned that behavior because he was touched. He's rung the alarm. His mom took hush money. It went away. And he got stuck there. He was molested from the age of 7 to 14 years old. So he's mentally ill, period. If we would have paid them off, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. Not saying he's right, but we would be talking about something else. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I done said money is everything. The reason why he's sitting in jail now is because he has no more money. None. He's done up. He's done up. Absolutely done up. Between paying all those victims, the entourage and managers and security teams robbing them, you know what I'm saying? Like, in his own lavish lifestyle, he's broke. He was smashing many women. Yeah, and giving them herpes while he was at it. Yes, he was. Yep. Bottom line, R. Kelly is a sexual deviant with underlying mental. Absolutely. And now somebody, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Naj. And I'm really mad that you can't get on because I really want you and Justice. I want Naj and Justice. I want both of y'all on, but for some reason I can't get y'all on. It's a tradition in the hood. Come on now. What do you mean? What's a tradition? Yeah, Ativa, he was molested from 7 to 14 by not only a female, but by a male as well. Can you imagine what that does to the psychological part of your brain? You're a boy and another boy is touching, a grown man is touching you. No, you don't get over that. And then when you tell your mom she don't protect you, she takes money and sends you on about your way. No, you don't get, that's traumatic. That is a traumatic situation. That's how you send a friend request. That's how you send a friend request. I don't see that though, Ty. I don't see that. You ever killed a roach? What? Marlon, what in the heck that got to do with the price of tea in China right now? I'm so confused. Let me see. The drug dealers used to stay at it, the middle and high school picking up. Yeah, they did. But the difference is they weren't a high profile celebrity and he wasn't, defecating, peeing and doing all this other weird stuff. And it's just a little different. It's a tad bit different, but they definitely, because I know I messed with some, when I was underage, I messed with some older dudes. I'm just saying. So yeah, this is something that goes on. Like, and again, it's 1600s. Like, It's in our DNA, our ancestors, and all that. Like, and all that stuff comes into play. Mothers were pimping their daughters out to the. You are 100% right. Some of them women were substance abuse users, and collateral damage. I agree, but well, how do we find out where they are so we can evaluate their mental health? Because I'm sure they have issues as well with your parent pimping you out for drugs, for money. Yeah, that's traumatic. People develop PTSD from that. It should be on our phones. It's not though, Ty. I don't know how to get these people on. Love you so much. Keep up the good work. Love you so much. Oh, Pookie, love you too, Diddy. I'm from the hood. You ain't from the hood. You from Burlington City. Get out my face. No. And it wasn't in tradition. I don't want nothing from a kid or a woman in hell to hold against her will. You ain't from the hood, nah. Burlington. Moms was hookers, so they had daughters. All right, so now y'all starting to get funny. Like, we trying to talk about some real stuff here. Now y'all want to start cracking jokes. Like, I can't. Hypothetically, after the first 3 girls and someone told him this is wrong, is the line that we say, oh, this dude just... So tell me, Chester, who told him that he was wrong? Because I didn't see any of that. Everyone was enablers. So like you said, hypothetically, after the first 3 girls, I'm assuming you're talking about 2008. I want to know who told him that he was wrong from that point forward, because I didn't see anybody. Everybody had their hands in that plate. They were flying these girls out. They were giving them numbers. They was pulling them up to the school. They was, getting them fake IDs. Like, yes, I don't know. I need facts. Chester. Our society as a whole makes money so important that you'll do almost anything to attain. Some people will. Some people are products of their environments. Depending on where you're from, money is what it is. But that also depends on your upbringing, your environment. Again, it all circles back to mental health. The environment that you're brought up in will affect you directly in who you become as a human being. So there are some people who, raised in poverty, didn't have mom, dad, had to survive on their own, raise their siblings. Some people are raised on survival and not love. You know what I'm saying? So people have to realize that it's the environment that you grow up in that essentially creates you, because when you're young, you're developing, right? And if something happens to you that's super traumatic from the age of 7 to 14 years old, you tell me how a person is able to move beyond that when his mother failed him by not putting that fool in jail. You should go over that. Yeah, so it's very when people think about it, it is very it's enlightening, but he definitely was just doomed because he didn't have... I'm from Beverly. Even worse. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not condoning it, but our people deal with some hypocrisy. They persecute others for the same behavior. Absolutely. Which is why I'm saying, we as people, why do we drag our own people? My sinuses started to act up now. Y'all, I'm about to have to hang up soon. But why do we drag our own people instead of lending empathy the same way other cultures do? Like when they shoot up schools and, go to church and shoot up people in church. What happens? Oh, he came from a broken home. His mom died. The dog was sick. Like they always give backstory. But then when our community, something happens, oh, he was a thug. Oh, he went to jail when he was 12 for selling Lucy's, or it's always something. But we demonize it. It's us that was out there marching. It wasn't no other race. It was us. You are Kelly rallying against them. Like, how about we help that man? How about we give him some type of psychological help? The reason why people don't want to get help is because they're afraid that people are going to judge them and drag them. And we're the only culture that does that to each other. That's what I'm saying. He didn't know as an adult. No, Chester, he did it because mentally he was not an adult. It's the same thing that's been going on in New Jersey for years from the age of consistency. I don't know who wrote these laws, but clearly they like children. Listen, it's not just New Jersey. It's all over, especially down south. Because what used to happen in the 1600s, fathers used to marry their children off by the age of 13. And they had to like preserve their virginity, but after they get married they have to bring a dowry. So it was all about financial gain, you know what I'm saying? And that trickled down. And again, these are our ancestors, so a lot of that stuff runs in our blood and runs through, and we're recipients of it. But it's now that people are starting to say enough is enough and we're not tolerating it anymore. That's the difference. The parents should be locked up too. I agree because they enabled it. Now for the girls who are like runaways and, you know, didn't have that healthy support system, it's a little, the dynamics are different because, you know, a lot of those girls, they was able to do what they wanted to do. They was 16 flying out to where he was at. Like, what 16-year-old girl, you know, parents is going to allow that? So some of those girls was on their own and they were just, yeah, like Chester. Again, this is not about whether he's right, wrong, or indifferent. He's clearly wrong. 100%. I've said that numerous times. He's wrong. But dragging him without considering his PTSD, I just think is wrong. And what's dragging him going to do? I know a couple of girls that was skipping school with grown men, picking them up at the facts. Are people disciplined and not used to rehabilitate our people on a therapeutic level? I absolutely agree. Ty. Once we change our stinking thinking and human lives matter more than a effing dollar, ain't nothing going to change. If you have money, you can almost do what you want, true, so to speak. It's a systematic issue. Money unchecked, mental health, and other things create R. Kelly's and absolutely. Did he or his lawyer stay his? Chester, do you work for him? Are you his attorney, Chester? Are you his attorney? That's all I want to know. Just yes or no. You his attorney? I need to understand some things because you're going hard and you're not considering what I'm saying. And I kind of feel like I'm playing with you, but I kind of feel like you think that I am like okaying this behavior when I'm not. I'm talking about his mental health. And he don't got to talk about it because a person who don't feel like there's nothing wrong is not going to talk about mental health. Prior to my journey, I never thought about mental health. And it wasn't until some things was triggered that I began to tap in like, oh, shoot. And he's not at that level because he never had that. He was young. He was victimized and he went to fame. Boom, boom. There was no in between. There was none of that. So it's different. No, it is a valid question. And I just answered it. I just answered your question. They didn't have to state it. Didn't have to. The reason some people don't understand your point is because they aren't conscious of the mental health perspective and its effect. Yes, Just. You know, and I can't be mad about that because again, I was in that darkness at one point myself, right? But you know, when you know better, you do better. And, you know, I expected this. I actually expected a lot more negativity because people don't understand certain behaviors on a mental health level. And I can't be mad about that. The only thing I can do is try to explain so they can view it from a different perspective, right? That's what this is about. It's not about his guilt, his innocence, because he's guilty. He's in jail. My thing is to get people to understand the effects of inadequately dealing with your mental state. He ain't got to talk about it in court. It should have been brought. Boom. That's my point right there. That's what I'm saying. That was never brought into play. His mental health, his upbringing, his victimization, his PTSD was never spoke about in court. It was just demonizing. That's what I'm saying. His mental health should have taken some type of account. It should have been taken into account in court. Absolutely. R. Kelly is wrong as two left shoes, but there's a lot of layers. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. The layers. Just and Naj, y'all on point. Cause y'all feel what I'm saying. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down. So yeah. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all be great now. I took up an hour and a half of y'all time. I thank everybody for coming on, giving me their perspectives and their opinions. But I want to do this more. I want to have open dialogue because I feel like some people really still don't get what mental health means to people and what their upbringings and victimizations and pasts have to do with people's future. So I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep chipping away at people because mental health is a real thing. And I just use R. Kelly as a example because that's something that's heightened. That's something that everyone's pretty much familiar with. Maybe not the intricate details, but everybody knows, what went on with R. Kelly. So I use him as an example. But again, I'm big on mental health. I'm going to, try to keep on getting people to see it from a different perspective. And that's just what it is. So again, I thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And let's keep this going because when you know better, you do better, right? Let's help each other. Let's pull each other up instead of breaking each other down. Let's make that a thing within our community. Love y'all.